This is my Mark 5 GTI, and today I'm going to walk you through everything that went wrong in the past 6 months of my ownership. One of the first things that went wrong with this car starts here. This key got locked in the ignition cylinder. I also had to replace the blower motor resistor because I only had fan speeds on 4. When I got this car home and off the trailer, the starter went, leaving me with a no start condition. So in the meantime of things breaking, I did a lot of preventative maintenance. I did the timing belt, I did the water pump, all the tensioners, I think a bunch of little stupid stuff that didn't need it, like fuel lines, but still, they weren't looking pretty, so I changed them anyway as preventative. And then I did the timing chain, which is where it all went wrong.
The goal of doing anything on the cam chain side was to replace the chain itself and the tensioner as preventative maintenance. We weren't sure when it was done, if it was done. There was like minor slapping on cold start, but nothing that it was like, oh my God, that needs to be done yesterday. When we were putting it back together, that's when some of the threads in the cover stripped out.
Yep.
And that's when we had to replace the cover because, well, threads are stripped out and we can't put parts back in the way that it needs to be put in. That was kind of the main start, was that damn cover.
Yeah. Yeah, that cover completely threw us for a loop because I replaced it with a cheapo one from a unknown parts manufacturer, and that ended up restricting oil flow heavily. So the sensor that was on top of the camshaft cover directing oil flow to the cam adjuster, which is the VVT, ended up pretty much starving itself and throwing these camshaft codes, timing codes. It was a mess.
Which when we started getting those codes, it was for that sensor. So the sensor was replaced. Well, the codes were still there.
That's true, which I believe is called the oil control valve.
Yes. In the hunt of that sensor, after the new part was put in, sensor then switched around, started bouncing around to other different, like it was bouncing between what, P000A and P0011.
Yeah.
And it kept swapping between the two of them depending on what parts we were replacing. That was when you decided to do the actuator, the adjuster.
Yes, and then I replaced the VVT adjuster
in the assumption that that was the problem, because that was the next part. Why would the brand new parts be a problem, right?
Well, as it turns out, that brand new adjuster from Vico was a faulty brand new part. It was stuck and it wouldn't adjust at all.
Then we started getting new codes.
So as you can see, I fell down the rabbit hole of replacing parts with bad parts, and ultimately it made this GTI not run well at all. And I chased that issue for quite some time. But after I replaced the adjuster again, multiple times, but we won't talk about the next time because it was just with another Vico adjuster hoping that it would adjust. But at that point I had already spent the money for an OEM one. So I just bought an OEM one, returned the last 2, bought an OEM one, and that fixed all of my issues with adjustment. Then I was chasing down oil starving issues for that sensor, which unbeknownst to me was the new cover that I had just thrown on. So I ended up getting a thread chaser kit to fix the OEM cover and then put that back on the car, and presto, good as new. No more codes for the timing chain, no more codes for timing advanced or oil control valve issues. Then it was running like a brand new car.
And we got the thread repair kit not for the timing cover itself, but for the head, because one of those threads stripped out.
Yep.
That was the whole reason why we even got into that.
That's true too, yeah. But it actually turns out that the thread kit that I bought was the exact same size and pitch for
The cover.
the cover.
So since replacing, what did we do? 2 new oil control valves, 3 adjusters, and then the cover, and then having to repair the original cover.
Yep. So it's been quite an adventure with this Mark V.
Finally, all of the codes were gone, and we were out on a test drive after that repair. You also decided to replace the wiring harness for the injectors as well as the injector seals.
Yes, I did do that.
So we were out on a test drive for that. And of course, why would that go smoothly?
Yeah, so I ended up test driving that for, I think a couple.
It was for the cam chain timing as well as the injectors.
Yeah. And it ran great for a while.
Until it didn't.
Until it didn't. Which then led us into it misfiring like crazy. But this time it was just misfire codes. Nothing specific, nothing at all pointing me anywhere. So I went on OBD11 and I checked some values, and the fuel rail was getting plenty of pressure. That was good. So I narrowed it down to being fuel injectors. So I replaced all 4 fuel injectors after I had just done the seals and everything on the old ones. And now it's running great. Running fantastic. Feels great, got plenty of power, no issues, and that is pretty much where we left off.
Yeah, that's where we are currently. Is how many drives after you did the injectors? Maybe just under 10 drives. Pulling great. I mean, genuinely better than even after all the timing stuff was done.
Yep.
Because we didn't know the injectors were failing because it wasn't throwing any sort of codes for that.
Right.
We didn't get any information except dead on cylinder 2.
And that's not even the worst of it. The suspension, the brakes, engine components, and even the DSG has been replaced on this car. So I hope some of the previous owners got to enjoy it at least a little bit, because now that is exactly what I'm gonna do.